happy to have my friend of the show, James Murrin, in. He's got a lot going on, but you guys know James. I'm doing a terrible job of starting the show for some reason. My voice is cracking, it's jumping up, but I'll let it all out. James, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, good to be back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An
upgraded location, you know?
Yeah, new spot. You were actually the first guest in our old spot. It's the same building, but different studio.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it feels like it was a century ago, but it was probably under a year, maybe.
Yeah, about a year. Yeah, year and a half-ish, right? Was it winter time?
I think so.
Okay,
it was winter time.
Yeah.
And you got a big fight coming up.
Yes.
Combat FC, September 13th.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Dude, I'm pumped. I'm so pumped. I don't consider myself the press. I'm just a comic. That's how I know you from comedy. But I've had the Combat FC guys on there coming on actually a little bit later this week to promote some fights. So I usually try to stay neutral and just like, but I will say this. I hope you smash this guy, and I can't wait. I'm really pumped for this fight. How did it come about?
Well, I was talking to Joe for a little while, and he reached out and he said, "Hey, we got a show coming up in September," and I was just starting to get back in the swing of things, and I said, all right, well, maybe it's a good opportunity to, check it out, because I've been to most of their shows, and I've seen a lot of their shows on Fight Pass, so really, got me ready to go.
Yeah, Joe's the man. He's a character.
Yeah.
I love Joe. He's a good guy. Is this your first fight for Combat FC?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Did you fight in their old... They had another...
I think it was WCF. Was their old one, yeah. And I was just starting to train pretty much when that show was...
Transitioning
doing their thing.
Yeah.
I was I think I had like my first or second amateur fight when they... I think they were around even before I did that. That was in 2009. So they were probably around before, 2006, 2007, the infancy of, Massachusetts MMA scene, you know.
Joe's got some crazy stories about his managing days back in the day. He was telling, I didn't realize this, but he helped negotiate the contract for Lee Murray in the UFC.
Oh, really? Yeah. Huh.
And we kind of went down this route. I forget what we were talking about. We started talking about Lee Murray, and Joe's just got some crazy old school UFC stories.
Oh yeah,
from back in the day. I love talking to that guy. Rick's a nice guy too. They'll be coming in promoting some fights later this week. I think on Thursday or something like that.
Cool.
So, where's the guy you're fighting on? He's not a Massachusetts guy.
Yeah, he's in Virginia.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
What's the weight class?
145.
145.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. 145 fights are the best. I don't know. 145, 155 fights. I don't know why, but if I'm watching UFC or something like that, I feel like that's the dudes are like swinging, but they're also really fast, so you get like a little bit of both,
There could be like a high level of skill with the lower weight, but also enough power to pack a punch, So there's kind of like that mix, Because it's like anything over 185 pounds, you're going to expect a freaking knockout anyway.
Yeah.
170 pounds, same thing. Yeah, from like even it's 35 now, but 45 to 170, you start to see the decisions getting less and less and less and less.
Yeah.
Whereas like 25ers go 5 rounds, sometimes they're so skilled that they negate each other, and they're so fast. I'd personally much rather fight a guy who's a little bit bigger than fight a guy who's 125 pounds, or fights at 125 pounds, because those guys, A, never get tired. Never. And B, I've been training with this guy during this training camp, and he's actually fighting that night too. And he's the 125-pound champ, and he's fighting for the 135-pound title.
Oh, he's moving up.
Yeah, so he's gonna, hopefully have 2 titles. And going with him is a fucking nightmare.
Oh, I bet. Just
It's
super
just
fast.
fucking, just like, yeah, he's on your leg, he's on your back. I'm wearing him like a fucking backpack, like I'm hiking Mount Everest. I'm like, fuck!
Yeah.
It's just like killing me.
Dude, I'm actually sore as hell too. I hadn't been training much, and Friday nights where I go is the competition, so it's just like all rolling. It's not like a class. So I went last night. I got tapped probably 1,000 times.
What gym?
I train at Henzo's in Wyndham.
Oh, okay, nice.
And dude, I haven't been rolling as much, or at least doing like the longer. It's like 10-minute
Right.
matches. So it's a long time for me anyway. And I woke up this morning. I can still barely like move my arms.
In a gi too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That shit fucking... I mean, I'll definitely get back into the gi eventually, but right now it's like I always get fucked up. Like my neck gets hurt or my shoulder gets hurt.
So you don't, right now, while you're geared more towards fighting, you don't do any gi?
Not really, no. I mean, once in a blue moon, but I usually just do no gi grappling.
Yeah.
Primarily, yeah. It could be...
It makes sense. That's what you're preparing
yeah.
for.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll take my fucking shirt off covered in sweat, too, and then I can really get out of shit.
Yeah.
Because you can...
Slip in and slide.
Right, yeah. It changes everything, because it's like all the submissions that you would normally do in a gi, the first 5 minutes of a match, right?
Yeah.
You only have that 5 minutes in an MMA fight before the sweat starts pouring, and then all of a sudden...
Can't hold it.
You can't armbar them. You might not be able to triangle them as effectively. This is depending on like your skill level, right? But usually you see rear naked chokes in MMA all the time. Rear naked chokes because you can lock them down. You get the legs in.
Yeah.
You get that
Sink
back
in the
position.
choke.
Yeah. Guillotines are like probably second, and then after that, maybe I don't know. Triangles, guillotines, they got to be close, and then arm bars and heel hooks, and from there on out,
Do you watch a lot of UFC fights? Are you like a regular watcher?
Not, when it's like, if it's a fight that intrigues me, I'll definitely watch it. But I'm not. I don't watch it all the time. Like sometimes I'll watch old fights.
Yeah.
Like I was on
like when stuff pops up on YouTube, like my algorithm, it's always just like UFC fights.
Yeah, I'll be watching. Sometimes I like watching the old Pride fights, the 10-minute first round. Which is just
that was
like.
Cool.
The people made Pride to like die. Like we want you to die.
Please.
Like 10-minute round. It's like,
Take
finish. And it's so true because it's like I wonder if you did the stats on how many finishes were in Pride versus UFC. Obviously, it's probably evened out by now because there's been so many more UFC events.
Fights.
But a 10-minute first round, that's like a real fight.
Yeah.
Like
fight.
like you're both going to be shitting your pants tired afterwards, Like how do you prepare for that? Like sparring a 10-minute round?
Yeah. That's great. I know. And the rule set was different too, like soccer kicks to the head.
Right. They didn't allow
fights.
They didn't allow elbows, but they did allow the kicks,
kick.
right? Yeah. Yeah, they're like, it's tournament style. If a guy gets cut but he ends up knocking you out, then you're both out. Yeah. So they're kind of like, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, dude. That was actually the best thing. I watch a lot of UFC fights. It sort of replaced my other sports watcher. I feel like I don't really watch. I used to watch baseball religiously, football. I feel like I barely watch any of the sports now. Mm-hmm. Football maybe more, but the best thing, because I do the same thing. I go back on Fight Pass and I watch a ton of fights, and I love the old Pride fights. I was just watching. I think the UFC might have put it out. Actually, it was like the top 10. I forget what submission finish, or maybe the top like things like twister finishes, or just top finishes all together. But that's probably my favorite thing to see in an MMA fight. Like knockouts, crazy, and I do, of course, like they're entertaining. But a crazy submission that somebody pulls off on the UFC, for some reason, I like those are the fights I want to watch.
Yeah. Well, people are getting more, like the like the layman, the ordinary person watching an MMA fight is getting way more educated on what's happening.
Yeah.
You know?
That's like why I started dating jiu-jitsu. I was like, I feel like I want to know more about what specifically is going on. I know what the announcer is saying, but I want to know what it like feels like too. You know what I mean? Like when they're saying like, oh, he's trying to get his back down to escape. I'm like,
I'm
like, oh yeah, why doesn't he just do that? He didn't think to do that. But like after you trail him, you're like, oh no, like it's really hard to do that.
I remember, what was it like? I started training like an old school, karate background. Hitting a bag in the garage, punching bricks in the fucking driveway. Shit like that with my old construction boss. And one day he's like, oh, let's order the UFC. Let's see what it's about, blah, blah, blah. And we didn't know shit from Shinola then. So we turn it on. It's like, I don't know, 2006 or something to flick it on. And, one guy's just sitting in half guard. The other guy's just punching his gut and no one's moving. The ref's not even standing him or anything. Like, I'm not saying he should. But it's like, we didn't know what was going on. And we're like, this sucks. Yeah. Right? It's just like, right, but nothing was happening either, right? Yeah. It was kind of like, now that I've been in it, that's going to happen. Sometimes you just get fucking squashed. The guy's on top of you. You're in half guard. You don't have room to move until he makes a move. He might be got a lot of top pressure on you. So yeah, it's funny how over time you get
a little a little understanding. Yeah. It's like like I feel like now I have an understanding of like kind of how you're just saying. If somebody's on top of you, they're doing whatever, and it's like there's like this, when this little millimeter of a room or a reflex happens to like move quick, like trying to do those can sometimes just take time. Yeah. And I'm at home watching the TV like, what the fuck?
Right. It's such a different, because you got bright lights in your face. You got people fucking screaming. Yeah. I remember walking into the cage once and a freaking guy, I was fighting this like farm boy wrestler from Pennsylvania, way heavier than me. I shouldn't have taken the fucking thing, right? But, back in 2014, 15, I would say yes to fighting a rhinoceros in there, you know what I mean? And then, so I get in there, I'm walking in, right? And there's some fucking Jabba the Hutt looking motherfucker sitting on the edge of the cage, and he's like, looks at me, and he looks at him, and he goes, light work! I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're dealing with all that, too. Yeah. The fucking shit that comes out of people's mouths, like,
and people's teams probably yelling shit at you.
Oh too. Yeah. You try to, because it's so funny. You're trying to fight that side of your brain that's attentive to everything around you. Yeah. While you're trying to stay completely zoned in on what's in front of you. So it's kind of got this fucking tug of war going on. Usually, you want to try to figure that out before you take that walk, and then get in that zone, because otherwise you're just kind of. You're flip-flopping around.
Yeah, how long before the fight starts do you feel like you start to make that switch? Because I've heard other fighters in interviews talk and mention sometimes it's like at the weigh-in, all of a sudden they feel it. Sometimes they don't feel it until they're standing there in the ring. Do you have maybe like a consistent moment you feel usually, or is it different?
Yeah, I would say that when I have my best times, I am like super just kind of like, nothing's happening yet. Like I'm in the back, like I can feel that drip of adrenaline, right? You get that little butterfly feeling, but you're just kind of like, like calming down a little bit. You've already imagined all you could possibly imagine up until the point. So it's like you imagine the best things and the worst things. So you're just kind of like trying to let all that fucking bullshit settle. And then letting that adrenaline just hit you and like not seeing it as like, oh, this is just another day of training, but like how you spar is how you fight, essentially. So it's like if I had a great training, great sparring, I'm going to go in feeling confident, and I'll be like, I'll do just that, and just let the adrenaline take over and not think a single thing. Like not think, just go just like I would in sparring. You're just kind of going, you're not thinking. So that's a big part of it. Like, don't let thought disrupt your fucking process. Because once you start to think, you're like, oh, I gotta, boom. Now you're getting hit.
Let it roll.
Right. You just kind of like, it's all going to be happening all at once so fast. And obviously have your ears open, too, because your coach is going to be yelling stuff. I've heard I've heard my coach yell things like "No," you know. So
that you don't want to think about. Like,
fuck no! What are you doing? You know. So you get conditioned to hear certain things.
How long before the fight do you spar?
Well, it depends. I think I might have one or two more left in me before the show, so maybe one time tomorrow or Monday, maybe one time Tuesday, and then that might be it. Maybe I'll do one Friday night, even kind of simulate a thing.
Yeah.
You know?
When you're sparring, do you switch your sparring partner every round?
It depends. Like, normally the coach will have, maybe you go with a different guy every round, or you stay with the same guy for 2 rounds, and then you cycle. So, it varies.
Yeah.
You know, if it's boxing, it's usually with the same guy straight through. Boxing, sparring, 4 or 5, 6 rounds. And then MMA is kind of different, right? You get a different look every time. So you're always going to be fucking tired.
Yeah.
There's no escape. It's like one guy probably had a round, he was coasting, he's looking at you across the room.
Yeah, then turns it up.
And then I had a fucking war zone with that kid. I get in there, I'm like,
oh, man.
You know. But it makes you better. You have to learn to fight exhausted. It's part of it, you know. You're both going to be tired at one point. Just who's going to fight better tired.
Yeah.
Because
right.
you're wrestling, and then right when you get done wrestling, you got to try to pick your hands up again. So, like, that's why you see some people like, oh, the punches are shit.
Up and down.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, well, this guy
just
just fucking wrestled for 90 straight seconds. His arms are locked, tired. So, yeah, he's probably going to be winging shots. He might be throwing different angles and stuff, so.
Now, the gentleman you're fighting, and I forget his name, but do you know much about what style? Is he more of a striker?
Yeah, he's like a brawler. Like he had bare knuckle boxing fights. He had some MMA fights as well. Yeah, he's more of like a kind of stand in your face, throwing shots.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, he had the tattoo in his chest, and I was like, that definitely means you're probably more of a striker. I don't know why. I think of a striker when I think of
the Conor McGregor chest tattoo. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I usually think of. But
that's kind of funny. Start a trend.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get a chest tat like Conor McGregor. Not saying that's what he did, but a lot of people did.
Oh hell yeah!
A lot of people.
What is it?
Did.
No, it's not the tiger. It's a gorilla.
Yeah.
I think, correct?
Yeah.
Jeez,
what a waste of fucking money. God.
I know, dude. I don't. You know what? I like.
But yeah.
But
you got tattoos for yourself, though. We're not talking about people that said, "I like that tattoo that guy has on TV. I'm gonna fucking," you know what I mean? Where it's like, everyone has their own unique story with what they get, and I myself never gonna get a tattoo. Yeah, it's just my thing, right? But I like tattoos on other people. Unless it's like a Pokemon card trend, right? Everyone's like, I'm going to get the...
I'm going to Pokemon.
Yeah. Like it's the yo-yo. It's the new fad. I'm going to get a thing, You know
what's funny? I've been following this dude on Instagram. Were you into yo-yos back in the day at all?
I was.
I was obsessed with yo-yos.
Sleepers?
Oh, dude. The sleepers, the wizards. I've been following this dude that is amazing at yo-yoing.
Doing all the triangle tricks.
Yeah, and he does. He's so smart. His social media is great. He's got all the black lights and like really good lighting setup. And he's got the glow in the dark neon wizards, so it looks really dope. I'm like, I need to start yo-yoing again. But I feel like I would probably look like an asshole.
Yeah. Well, what was it? It was originally. So the yo-yos are a big thing. Pokemon cards were a big thing too. You might have. Did you miss that?
I missed Pokemon.
Okay.
So if you're going yo-yos to Pokemon, I'm more of a Pogs to yo-yos.
Yep.
So I went Pogs to yo-yos and then fell off at Pokemon, and then I started just not really paying attention to stuff.
Yeah. Yo-yos, Pokemon, and then Magic: The Gathering. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. I remember Magic.
That was like
played a little Magic.
Yeah, you can play it. right? Whereas Pokemon, no one knew how to fucking play it. Or
Yeah,
people
I
were
don't
trying
know
to
any
figure it
about
out, right? But yeah, Magic cards had more of like a competitive feel to it. You're playing against your buddies, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Did you play Pokemon Go at all?
I did try it a little bit, and you know, I got bored of it pretty quickly because it's like I'm gonna be walking around Boston like fucking like you know, trying to be at the park. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, there's a friggin' a Pikachu down at City Hall. We gotta get there fast.
Dude, where I work,
You know?
When did Pokemon Go come out? Like 5 years ago, probably at this point? I don't know.
Longer than that, actually. I think it's been
Probably
out
like
since like
10?
2017, 18, maybe.
Okay, so when it first came out where I was working, I guess there was a very high level Pokemon. There's a cemetery right behind where it, and it was like a certain tombstone where you could catch this whatever. And I used to watch from the window at the most random times, the most random people finally finding this crazy powerful Pokemon and going like doing these dances of joy in this cemetery. And I remember always watching it every day and thinking like, what the hell is going on? But like they were like, these are people's graves and they're like I saw one dude literally do like this thing and a split, like a full split, a guy, like Jean-Claude Van Damme style
Oh
split.
my god.
And he was it was awesome.
Wow.
Maybe not wanting to Pokemon Go.
And the other thing, too, is how the hell didn't, as a company, Niantic, I think they called, how the fuck did they be like, oh, yeah, scan this whole area. There's a graveyard over there. We'll put the fucking badass Pokemon in where all the dead people are.
Yeah,
that will be fun.
Like, it's whatever.
Right.
Wizard, Grand Wizard.
Right.
I'm like, I don't
They're
know.
like, stay out of businesses. Don't want to do this at Wendy's, you know? Trying to catch an Onyx at Wendy's, you know? It's just...
The only time I had tried that and had fun with it, I was at a Patriots game, and this is also pretty soon after it came out, and somebody was trying to convince me to do it, and so I walked around with them. There was like places in the parking lot, and then I think they had a couple in the stadium, and it was kind of fun, but it was so distracting, and I had this weird feeling that I'd get hit by a car one day, just not paying attention where I was going, looking for Pokemons.
I think someone did get fucking hurt.
Probably.
I think there's
walked in front of a train.
At least a dozen Pokemon Go incidents. I think if you Googled it, I'm sure you'd find it. You know,
it's a conspiracy. I think they're putting Pokemons in our kids' phones. I don't know. I'm just yeah, I got distracted. What were we talking about? Yeah. Okay. So, do you know much about the fight? Or I think I've asked you this before, but the guy you're fighting, is he somebody that has a lot of tape that you could watch? And if he does, do you like to watch tape on guys you're fighting?
Yeah, so I looked up a good amount of his stuff, and I like to watch stuff for a little while, but I don't like to do it so much when I'm getting closer. You know?
Yeah.
Just kind of do what I need to do, and see what I need to see, but don't get obsessive over it. You know, like
Is it more like I want to see what his style is, and then not worry about what he's going to do because what he did isn't necessarily
right? And like
fight.
you can see things from certain angles, like I could do this and do that, but it's a whole lot different when you're in there too, right? So you kind of have to adapt to if what I thought was going to do didn't work, then and then there you go, right into the whole thought cycle, right? You kind of like, okay, go in there with that plan in your mind, right, but not thinking about it. And then if it doesn't work out right away, just continue to do what you would do if you were, sparring. Just continue to do that at a high rate, fast speed, because that's really the only difference. It's like sparring is at like it should be at 50-60% most of the time, and a fight's like 90-100.
Yeah.
So, but you're still essentially doing the same thing. Sparring is just like your practice for the fight.
Do you schedule sparring? So you have certain days where you're going to go and you know you're not going to spar, or do you sort of let that play out as your camp's going and try to figure out like, oh, I need to pull back a little bit here, maybe I need to double up and do a couple to work on timing?
Yeah, so I think it was the end of July. I did 2 sparring days in a row. One day was MMA sparring, and it was like 6 5-minute rounds, brutal, exhausting. And then I did about 7 to 8 boxing rounds the next day. And then
were those 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
And then Monday I did like a heavy, like grappling session. And then Tuesday I went and did Muay Thai pad work. And then Wednesday I crashed.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, like that was too much.
Yeah,
that was too much too fast. Like I like kind of trying to, for the sparring, like I try to keep that as like its special day.
Yeah.
You know, the coach will say, you know, Saturday, boom, at 11 o'clock, whatever it is. So we're like, okay, we'll do Saturday. And then everything else around that, like I'll take Friday off and then take it easy. You know, today I didn't go because I would have gone today if it was more local, but they ended up going down to Connecticut at a different gym to, you know, get different looks, different bodies. And I'm like, I already drive to Montreal and back every week from work, training, and everything else. I'm like, I could use a break from, you know, I can't do a 6-hour hurrah, you know, because that's 3 hours there.
Montreal's
Well, yeah, I'm just, the mileage, you know. Yeah. That's how many miles I'm driving a week sometimes. I'm just literally driving to fucking Canada.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, I thought you meant you
literally. No. Like, actually, like, you know, driving to Boston, driving to, sailing to Peabody, sailing to Lowell, sailing to Lowell, you know what I mean? You just boom, 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 boom.
I was about to say, like, what, you go to St. Catharines?
No, yeah. But, yeah, they went to Connecticut. And, again, like, maybe in the future to do a trip like that, but I just couldn't handle it today. I was burnt. That's one of the benefits of being an older guy in the game.
You know know what you got to do.
Yeah. I'm like, you know, I'm 35. I've driven a lot this week. You know, it's like it's draining hard. Yeah. But just know, I've driven enough for this week.
Yeah. When you're young,
you don't even think about it.
You don't care, right? You're just like, no,
I'm
going to go a million miles an hour.
I have a freaking dog, a goddamn cat, wife's at home. You know, it's just like, you know, your responsibilities keep tacking on. So you're like, how do I micromanage all these things and make sure that I'm giving enough time for each thing?
Dude, that's the hardest thing. Yeah. It's just managing life. Yeah. You know, like between trying to get like comedy gigs or just
that's the other thing too, because all these mics, it's like, oh, the Salem mic's great because it's in my house, but hold on, we go in Amesbury, they got this one, that one, so you're driving to all these places too. And then give you a perfect example of what the rush around looks like. Thursday morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm driving to train, and I had breakfast by my side. I just came out of work for like an hour. I had 3 eggs, 4 pieces of toast, 3 pieces of bacon, and sweet potato home fries. And I'm picking away at it with my fucking hands while I'm driving. And then this asshole slams on the brakes in front of me. I slam on the brakes, the whole fucking thing. The whole thing. I ate like not even a quarter of it, just fucking splattered right on my car rug. That happened Thursday. It's still on my car rug. I haven't had time
to pick it up.
I need a vacuum. I need like a shot, like a vacuum at a cleaning station, right? Not because like the eggs and the sweet potato fries spot welded into the rug, so it's like I'm not going to be scraping that with paper towels. I don't.
Yeah, you got to take it on, just like beat it with a baseball bat over a fence or something.
And then I go, as soon as I get home, I'm like, I'm tired. I got to get your nap. And then I got to eat. Oh, I got to go to work. Oh God, I got to. You know, it's just fucking. Yep. So my car smells like.
Like a Hungry Man's breakfast.
Yeah.
It's the 2x2x2.
Smells like a sweet potato home fry basket. Friggin'.
Yeah, you're like...
Good air freshener.
I'm like, my truck's a 4x4. You're like, yeah, my car is a 2x2x2.
Yeah, my car is a diner now. I should just spill coffee on top of it and make icing on the cake.
Yeah, might as well have. Ah, dude, that's the worst, man. I hate even when my water bottle goes on the other side of my car. It'll sit there for a month.
Yeah.
Never mind if I spill a bunch of crap in there.
Yeah.
What is your meal planning like when you're getting ready for a fight? Is it hard for you to hit 145?
No, not really. Last time I did it, I kind of I did it on my own, but it wasn't in an ideal scenario. Like I was using the like a sauna and stuff that it wasn't really hot enough.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it's at the gym I work at. It's kind of it's light. That makes sense. They don't want people fucking passing out in there. But I could have done it a lot better. I could have had someone there to help me. That's probably a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Because
if you pass out or something, you probably
right there was people there. Like it's like
yeah.
a big public space. But if I if I worked out with a sweatsuit on first, I still covered myself in friggin' Abilene to get the sweat pushing out of my pores. But I did this like sauna, hot tub, swim, sauna, hot tub, swim, sauna, hot tub, swim, in a cycle.
Yeah.
And I think I did that like 4 or 5 times, and I lost like probably 8 pounds of water. And like, must have been like at least a few hours.
Yeah.
I took breaks in between too. And I was like taking little cold sips, ice bag on my head, and taking a swim in the pool too. The pool like cools you off, so you kind of.
Yeah, I bet it feels amazing after.
But I think it would be a lot easier if I was able to, do a workout first, and then just keep the sweat rolling.
Yeah, like an elliptical workout or a run or something. Like
Yeah,
that?
yeah, or
Cardio?
using the bike or something like that. Just kind of get the blood rolling, because I was like, because the gym I had access to, it's a big place. It's Lifetime. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
So it's a big joint in there.
Oh, Lifetime's amazing.
Yeah.
So nice.
So I was using all those amenities for it, but I was like, do I want to go upstairs right now at 5 p.m. during rush hour in the gym and be covered in a sweatsuit, dripping sweat everywhere? You know what I mean? I just didn't feel like making a scene either. I was like, maybe I could just use the amenities to get it, and it worked, but
not as good as efficiently as you would have liked.
Yeah, next time I'll, do a little bit of a workout first and then carry it into that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Dude, I love Lifetime. One of my buddies will take, I think it's once a month he can bring a guest. And he's brought me a couple times. I'll take my son. He loves it because they have that. I love how their pool is like a sort of gentle slope into it.
Which pool? Which one?
I think it's the one in Burlington, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
I could be wrong though.
Yeah, Burlington.
Or Danvers.
Danvers, yeah.
It was one of those two.
Yeah. Does it have a slide? Was it outside? Big water slide?
The outside wasn't open when I went.
Okay.
It was in the winter, but they did have a slide.
Okay, so it was probably maybe. I wonder if Burlington has one too. I don't know. I had never seen the back of Burlington. I've only seen.
I think it was Danvers. I think it was the Danvers one.
Yeah, I call that place the Vegas, the North Shore Mall.
Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Yes, because it was at the North Shore Mall.
Yeah, and when you walk back there, there's, tons of people back there. It's like a little.
There's a bar at the pool too, right?
Oh yeah.
Did I hear that right?
People get wasted out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. People get wasted.
Because they're like, I just worked out. I'm good.
There's a lounge too down in the gym as well that serves booze as well. And I had a lady come into my class. She was fucking sloshed.
Hammered.
Yeah. I had
Hammered before the class?
Yeah.
Oh,
I had a guy come up to me. I was talking to him, and he looked like he was a little. It was 8 o'clock at night in the gym, and it was a Monday. So I work at nighttime Monday, and I was walking around, cleaning stuff up. And I go up to this guy. I say, "Hey, man, he actually helped me with this joke. I'll tell you about it in a second." Yeah. But he was like, doing his thing. And he was kind of meandering around. I was like, "Hey, man, I used that thing in the joke that you gave me, and I really liked it." He goes, oh, it's great, blah, blah. And his breath just reeked of, like, liquor. I was like, oh, shit. I don't want to put him on the spot.
Yeah. Do you get worried that, like, if... Because you do the boxing class there?
Yeah.
Like, somebody's going to get hammered and actually, like, accidentally or maybe on purpose, just throw a little something out of control?
I don't think people are getting that drunk all the time. I just think it's, like, a select few people that just, you know, they like to get the
blood flowing a little bit. Yeah, I could see myself having a beer before a quick little bag workout or something like that, but, oh, man.
Yeah, when I used to work the door at this bar down in Boston called Alibi. I don't know if you heard of it before.
Yeah, I heard of it.
You know, at the end, it's like 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and you might be having a drink or two. And I would have a couple drinks, and I would run from Government Center all the way to Southie. It's like 8 miles. Yeah. But I'm like this, 3 in the morning, drunk, not tired.
Jogging.
Just going. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know. There's something to that.
Yeah. Dude, I did this 5K one time. Actually, 2 times I did it because I had so much fun at it. It was called the Big Man's Relay. It was a 5K, which was that? It's like 3.5 miles, I think, or somewhere around there. So you have to, at each mile interval, chug a beer and eat a hot dog.
Oh, God.
Before you could go on to the next
What the fuck?
Marker. It was
How many
awesome.
people were puking, though?
There was a couple pukers.
Yeah,
for sure.
it had to have been.
This is maybe like 20. I think, maybe in my 20s when I did. So I felt like I had $1 million. I crushed it. But there was a few pukers. The biggest thing I had, I wish it was a grilled hot dog. It was like a boiled hot dog, too. So people were doing the Kobayashi. There was at least 2,500 people in the race, too. Huge race. It was in Worcester. And they were doing the Kobayashi where they were dunking the hot dog and like hawking it down and then taking off because they want to win.
Christ.
Yeah.
You had to eat the hot dog. It was part of it. It was like a checkpoint.
Yeah, it was the checkpoint. I mean, some people would do like the old and throw it, but my buddy that I was doing the race with knows the person that ran the race. He does silk screening or embroidery, so he did the guy's shirts for the race, and we were having a good time with it. We were stopping, like, enjoying our beer and just slowly eating the hot dogs so we didn't throw up. But some people were flying through it. And the ones that took it serious were also had eagle eyes, making sure other people ate their hot dogs. It was crazy. It was a good time. I recommend it.
Wow.
I don't know if I could do more than 3, but yeah, the 3 hot dogs was the hardest part. The beer I would have been fine.
Yeah, the liquid's probably a lot easier to take on the fucking boiled.
Yeah, dude. And like you got the bubbles from the beer. It was sponsored by Harpoon, I believe.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I was just chugging a Miller Lite either.
Yeah.
It was Harpoon can be kind of heavy.
Yeah.
So I got heavy beer in my stomach with 3 hot dogs, just getting ready to push out. Maybe I did puke. I don't know. I probably did.
Yeah, I haven't had a drink in like probably close to like 5 months.
Yeah.
Not a single drink. Like the last drink I had was like a high noon or something, and it was like I think I might have had 1 or 2 of them, but because I hadn't drank before that in a long time as well. Or actually, no. It was I definitely had a couple mixed drinks, but again, I just remember the feeling. I'm like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna feel like shit.
Yeah.
Like I can't. It's like I know people like to blow off some steam with it. It's like I'd rather smoke a little bit of weed, maybe chew on a little bit of psilocybin chocolate or something.
Yep.
I just can't deal with the alcohol anymore. Like I used to be kind of like a binge drinker, right? Just kind of like, oh, it's the weekend. There's a party. It's time to get fucked up. Friday, Saturday. You know, that whole high school ritual.
Yeah, you feel like you have to. Like you feel like it is a part of what your just regular routine is.
Yeah.
When you're that, not everybody, but I mean, I can relate to it anyway.
Right.
That's how I always felt. You just Friday, Saturday, hammered. Sunday maybe. Probably.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then if you're around people, and you're like, I'm not really drinking. They're like, what are you, a freaking weirdo? It's like, no, like, I don't want to wake up feeling like a bag of shit. Like, I have stuff to do tomorrow. I know it's a Saturday, believe it or not. Yep. But shit has to get done. I don't know what, whatever it may be. Work, freaking, even just working out yourself, like, it's crazy. Like, I remember I missed my buddy's fucking wedding reception because I got blackout drunk the night prior. Yeah, and I felt like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
But I wasn't the only one. Because there was a lot of guys there there was a lot of guys that we were all out with. They were at the wedding, and I guess a few of them ran out to puke in the middle of the reception. So I said, what's worse? Not going, right? I was spotting blood.
Yeah.
I, like, walked in there like I was, like, just got out of surgery later that night. I was like this, hey, guys. Like, I was fucked up.
Yeah.
And, yeah, my wife was pissed.
Those nights are fun, but
yeah.
I'm glad I don't do that anymore. But I hear you.
Yeah, terrible. That was the night that McGregor knocked out Alvarez because we were drinking, watching it.
Yeah.
And I was, fucked up.
I was on vacation with my wife in Miami for that fight. I remember watching it and getting hammered, too. We were out at some, like, random Miami bar. It was on. I've been hungover one time since my son's been born. And after that one time, I was pretty much guaranteed that I'm not going to be hungover again.
Right.
With an infant. I'm sure once he's a little bit older, I can get hungover again. But he was just crying the whole. My wife was hungover too. We were both just wasted. We were at I think we went to a wedding or something, and we came back. Got back home, and the next morning, he was just out of his mind. The babysitter also said he stayed up really late. They made the mistake of going back into the bedroom to see if he was okay because he was crying, which is like a no-no. If they're crying, you just leave them alone, let them go back to sleep. It was a rough one. I was like, I am never getting hungover again. Because of that night, I barely drink for that reason.
You don't have the time to be hungover. You don't have the friggin' time.
I don't. And the headache when your kid is yelling stuff to you. And like, not even bad stuff, like just kid stuff. It's magnified by 1,000%. It's
your brain's fucking pushing out of your ears, you know what I mean?
God.
It's like crazy. Crazy.
Now, is that why you sort of 5 months ago were like, I'm going to get ready for a fight, so I'm not going to drink while I'm training?
Yeah, I was, getting in a dialogue of making it happen. So I'm like, maybe it's a good time to just... And, like, I'm looking forward, too. Like, I'm like, I might, not have a single drink after the fact, too.
Yeah.
Win this fight, freaking not... People are like, here, I tell you. I'm like, nope. Like, I don't want that either, because it's like, I know I'm going to be up late.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get fucked up.
Yeah.
Again, I'll smoke a little bit of weed, have a good night. I'm just not, because the last time I did that. So, the thing with these fights, too, is like you might be fighting at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You have to fuck up your sleep schedule because I like to do this thing where if I know that's going to happen, I'll catnap a huge portion of the day.
Yeah.
While I'm eating and drinking and all that. And then by like 5 o'clock, I'll start moving around again, try to trick my body into like, hey, it's 9 in the morning. We're starting to rev up.
Yeah. Get
your
day going.
Right. But then you're at 3 in the morning. You're like this. Oh, it's at 3 p.m. Because your body's like, that's what they do at the highest level. You guys that they compete in Australia or they compete in different time zones.
Card, they fought at the main card in London started at 3 a.m.
You're right. Well, just think about that. That means those guys were training that time.
Yeah.
That means the main event, what was it, 6 in the morning, I think? 5 in the morning?
Yeah.
They must have, for like 3 or 4 weeks before the fight, on the day that would be the day, they timed it to where, okay, it's 6 in the morning there. Right, or if they're from England, right? They're like we're sparring at 6 in the morning.
I heard in an interview Leon Edwards gave that he hired a sleep. I mean, he's making a lot of money. He's a champ, but he hired a specific sleep coach just to help him adjust his sleep in the correct way or whatever.
A lot of those guys, like my buddy Tom Egan. He's good pals with McGregor. He was helping him for the fight with Chad Mendes, and he was telling me they were hitting pads at 11:30 at night, 12 at night.
Oh yeah.
They were like getting the body acclimated to do work at that late.
At that time.
Yeah, so like the whole process changes too. If you're getting paid that kind of money, right? Makes sense to be able to have the time to do that. Like you're not going to be working a full-time job.
Wasn't that card was also Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald, right?
On the
Mendes McGregor.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know.
That was a great card. Good fight too. I think that was when Connor came out to Sinead O'Connor.
Oh, okay.
I think because I also remember watching either on Netflix or maybe another thing. It was one of his documentaries, and it was like showing his knee injury going into that fight, and like the build up with Sinead O'Connor stuff. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I would probably get nervous like coming out to live music though for some reason. You're like when the rappers in boxing will come out with I've seen 50 Cent or
right.
Someone coming out with Floyd. I feel like that would be almost like too distracting having like a band playing behind you.
Right. Yeah. Like I barely want to give anyone a high five walking in.
Right? Yeah, exactly. You're like, I gotta go fucking fight somebody? Like what?
Yeah.
I would feel. I'd be like,
right.
Holy shit.
There's definitely. Yeah, maybe who knows? I don't know what they do. Maybe they pay them to shit. You know what I mean? To be like, hey, I'll toss you. Whatever, 20 G's to walk out with you. If it's, I feel like they could do that at boxing though, right? There's just so much. It's like UFC is like a show, right? It's a corporate machine.
It's a league, pretty much, yeah.
But boxing is kind of like, come on, ring them brothers Barnum and Bailey, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they're like, boom, and they're gone. And then they go, I don't know where again, and they're boom, gone. And it's really tough. Like boxing's like, there's something about, like, I was making this joke recently about how, you go to a boxing fight nowadays, it's filled with, like, grumpy old men. Everyone's like, fucking kill him. In the back rooms, everyone's angry and pissed.
Yeah.
Where MMA, it's way more like, let's keep it easy, and then there's hot chicks in the crowd. It's so different. So different, like boxing.
So the chicks, you think the chicks are hotter at a MMA event as opposed to?
Well, I just think it's more trendy. There's more younger people into MMA. Yeah. There's like, it goes from 20 to 30 to 40 MMA. Sometimes, whereas boxing, it's like 50 plus.
Old dudes, yeah.
Right, and it's. Have you ever seen the bitter beer face commercial?
Yeah.
Right, Foster's bitter beer face, and the guy's like this. Fucking, those are the people at boxing.
That's the boxing crowd,
right? Fuck him up, Roger. Fuck him up.
Oh shit.
Like MMA is like even the training is it's more controlled, and obviously it depends where you go, but it's more overall controlled. Whereas boxing sparring is like, we're fighting today.
Yeah.
Today you're fighting. You're ripping, like they might not try to put you down, but you might see some stars.
But you're giving some shots.
Yeah.
But like a long time ago, I did like Muay Thai and then boxing, just as like a hobby, whatever. I got out of college and I just still wanted to work out and like do stuff. But I remember I did go some days where we would do some sparring, and the feeling of like going in like, I'm going to spar. I'm trying to like put that into perspective, like what it must feel like to like walk out into like an actual like fight.
Yeah.
And when you, like, if you look back and you compare, like, say, sparring to a walking out for, like, a fight at, you know, an organized fight, do you have any moments where you're like, okay, this is, like, the same, it's great, like, I feel exactly the same as I do coming out, like, into a sparring round? Or do you need to feel some type of, like, different way about it? Well, my question doesn't make sense. I'm like, overthinking it. But, like, what do you think are, like, the main differences for just, like, the initial, like, you're walking out for, like, a fight versus going into a sparring session?
Well, I guess that initial feeling of, like, you know, right before the bell rings or right before you're going to get to it, it's close to being the same thing, except, you know, the fight's like a higher, like, you know, let's say your body knows. So it's funny that you're saying, like, the feeling of the fight, because I was talking to a buddy of mine, and we were at jiu-jitsu, and he goes, what, like, when do you, like, not have the feeling anymore? And I said, well, if you don't have that feeling, you better call it a day.
Yeah, you better not.
Because that feeling right there is what keeps you safe. It actually, you know, adrenalizes you to be able to take punishment and give punishment too. So, you know, it's just like, you know, keeping that cool head in that situation, letting that do its thing. Because it's like if you fight against it, that's when you're going to be in deep shit. Or if you don't have it, you know?
Yeah, so you're trying to harness that feeling and maybe leaning on all the other experiences you've had where that feeling has steered you one way or the other and trying to, like, hone that in.
Yeah.
How many fights have you had, MMA fights?
This will be my 10th,
Your 10th
coming up.
fight. Okay. And you said you had two professional boxing fights?
2 boxing fights, yep.
Do you think you'll do any professional boxing fights again, or you just focus mainly on MMA?
Yeah, you know, we'll see. I just... The amount of sparring you have to do in a boxing, like hard sparring, like sparring that you're getting hit, you're accumulating hits.
Yeah.
MMA, you get hit too, right? And I'm not, like, saying, oh, I don't want... I'm not afraid to get hit, blah, blah, but it's like I don't want to get hit as much as possible
save it for the
before.
fight.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's like boxing, there's just a lot of impact. There's a lot of impact, and you know, we've all seen it, guys over the years that spar their brains out, literally.
Yeah.
Their fucking brains are dripping out of their nose after a week's worth of whatever. I mean, you have to do so much sparring to get your timing so good, so perfect in boxing, because it's like you're only doing one thing.
Yeah.
In MMA, there's like so much room for error, like in a good way, like in like oh, you threw a weird punch and it landed and it got him, or like where in boxing it's like you throw that weird punch, the guy's just gonna go like this and then just start boom, 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 bobbing your head off, you know? Whereas MMA, it's like you can, if you're a little wild and that's part of your style, maybe that's going to aid you, right? Whereas in boxing, it's like such a...
It's going to hurt you.
Yeah, they call it, that's why they call it the sweet science, right? It's so...
Honed in.
Right. I was making fun of that recently. I was like, oh, the sweet science. I was like, yeah, boxing, the sweet science. I was like, yeah, it's like calling dog shit a sweet treat, you know? Because it's like... It being obviously the style, the footwork, the head movement, the combinations, the how to set somebody up, the fake and all that, like that's all part of the scientific realm of it. But the culture of it, like Reagan, Robbie, you suck.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, but you look back on it, you're like, wow, that guy actually gave a fuck about me because he was right. He was treating me like dog shit because it was like, buddy, you're gonna get your fucking head cleaved off. I'm trying to help you out here.
Yeah,
it's like it's the definition of tough love.
Yeah,
in boxing. So,
and for MMA too, you can do a lot of things 100% to practice outside of the hitting. You know what I mean? Like,
right, the grappling.
You can grapple,
yeah.
And if you are more of like a grappler, heavy style, you can get to that position and know where to be to throw strikes, right? But you just don't have to
Right.
actually do it to your partner.
Yeah, there was like my old coach I used to train with in Boston. He would say like he would show like a ratio of like average of how many punches are being thrown per weight class in MMA versus boxing, right? In boxing, you could have like in 140 something pounds, you might have 100 punches thrown in a round by each guy, and only 20% of them landed, which means like those guys get hit in the head 36 times with the body, give or take. But in MMA, it's like the amount of punches that can be thrown in a 5-minute period versus a 3-minute round. So a 3-minute round of boxing, guys are only throwing 100 punches around. MMA, you're only 60 punches maybe in a 5-minute, and that's on the high end.
Yeah,
70 punches, that's on the really high end. A lot of guys,
even if it goes that
right.
like full 15 minutes,
because a lot of guys who are boxing or if they're grapplers in MMA, they're throwing like maybe 10 punches around.
Yeah,
if they're not on top of you, right? Because they might be trying to get you a submission, or they're using a couple of like weak shots that set up the takedown, and so it's probably like it's kind of like I used to say, you're only guaranteed one slam or two slams a fight.
Yeah,
if you pick a guy up one time and slam him, don't do it again, because you're going to be shitting your pants tired. Whereas like punching, it's like maybe you got 45 punches that round, maybe you got 50 punches that round, and 2 kicks or 3 kicks, right? It's like, because like you're going to get tired trying to do that. But the more punches you throw in MMA, the higher success rate of a finish, because the gloves are smaller, and if you get hit with those,
you can get knocked out.
Yeah, you might be lights out.
Yeah. And so I saw too, just on the Combat FC page, they post all the whoever tags in their stuff. I saw the dude you're fine. He was posting some, just like Instagram stories or something like that. And he's, just throwing like strikes, or, just like hitting mitts or something like that. And I was watching, I was like, yeah, I wonder if he like has a lot of stuff. But you already kind of talked about that. Like you'll watch a little bit, but not too much. Do you find yourself, if you're lined up against an opponent, where you follow their like social media, or like, do you like to sort of like stalk them? Like it's like a weird.
In the beginning, like when they say, hey, 4 weeks out, or 3 weeks out, whatever, we got this guy for you, or whatever it is. Like this guy wants to fight you, or I'll take a look. But I, if it's private, I'm not going to be like, I need to make a second Instagram.
Yeah.
Like I got to find out what's going on. Like usually YouTube will solve that problem for me and pretty quickly. Or if they fought on a Fight Pass card.
Oh, that's right.
You could just plug it in on that. Or I've done this before, where a guy like fought for a league that was like, they had a subscription-based service through like a third party, like I don't know, like Cage Titans does that Spectate Sports Nation thing.
Oh, okay,
it's like
the DAZN type.
Right, yeah, they stream the fights, and then you can play them back.
Yeah.
I'll subscribe to it for like a month and just peek, check shit out, But again, not to be too obsessive with like what's that, because
so it's sort of like when you're in high school or middle school, you do the homework, you study a little bit for the test, but then you don't want to study all the way up to the test and start screwing yourself up. You want
you don't want to cram.
You don't want to cram it in,
right? Because you got to do what you got to do first, right? I mean, unless the guy has like such like a silver bullet weapon, right? Where they go, oh well, we can't let him take you down, or we can't let him throw his right leg kick.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when you get down that road, it was my first boxing match, my first pro boxing match. This guy I fought, he was a fucking monster. He had like 70 pro fights in Muay Thai.
Oh shit.
with a winning record.
Yeah.
And he was a lot bigger than me, too. And when I said that to the guy who was doing the matchmaking, I was like, he just kind of brushed it off. But I fucking went on this guy's Instagram. He's knocking guys dead with left hooks. Like, knocking them out.
Yeah.
And I was like, so the whole training camp, we were avoiding the left hook. Then the fight day comes, 3 rounds, I'm fucking winning. Boxing, pointing him, right? Landing more, throwing more, right? He pushed me back a little bit in the 3rd round, and some people were like, oh, you won that round. I was like, well, I have the tape. I watched it over and over again just for my own peace of mind, and I noticed, like, oh, shit, well, I threw almost quadruple the amount of punches that he threw. And when a judge in boxing sees that, they're not even looking. Oh, you threw a lot more, and you weren't sloppily falling all over the place. You were throwing, you were scoring essentially. Yeah. But in the 4th round, I fucking went in there. I kind of started to get dirty with him. I went up for a left hook. He fucking threw his at the same exact time. Boom! Turned my chin right over my shoulder. I fell. Got up for the 8 count. Finished the round. Finished the fight. Going hard still, came at him hard because I'm like, shit, that round's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
And that scored a 10-8 round?
Yeah. So, it was a close fight now in the cards, but...
6 round fight?
4.
4 round?
Yeah. So it was 3 rounds to 1, but with that 10-8 round, it had a closer score. But, that right there, we planned... Don't get hit with that. Put this hand out. And then all of a sudden,
it was in your head because you planned so much.
Right, and then because the majority of the fight, he was kind of bonking me in the head with it. But I had my hand right here. I had my chin down. He was kind of top of the head in me, and I was like, "God, he's seeing a little fuzz, but I'm all right. I'm okay." And then he got me right here because I dropped my fucking hand. I was tired. I made a big fucking. I actually hit him at the same time, but his was
the right spot.
Right, his was just a cut. Mine was like a load up, because I was going for a bomb. And my coach told me, told this to me at the very beginning of the fight. He's like, don't try to finish this guy. I was like, we just watched him fight a guy at 2 weight classes heavier than you, fight in a world-renowned kickboxing league. The guy he faught's record was 97-10.
That's a lot of fights.
And he went the fucking distance with him. And that guy was throwing everything he had at him, and he wasn't going down. So it's don't think for a second that, you're going to get him. And he came in heavier, too, for the weigh-in, not busting his balls, but it was kind of fucked up. He was 5 pounds over in the weight. So we ended up going with we had a 2-pound allowance, I think, and he blew past that.
Yeah.
So we still took it.
Sucks.
But he was huge. He was huge. If I pull up the picture on Instagram, you're going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You fought that dude? It looked like
that.
But it was an unbelievable fight. It was unbelievable. It was fight of the night. That whole night. You had all these undefeated pros, right? And it was me and him's pro debut in boxing. Mind you, he had that experience in Muay Thai, and I had that experience in MMA. But we had a fucking war.
Yeah. How many did combine, say, with the MMA fights, boxing fights, and any amateur fights? How many fights do you think you had up to that point? Because 70 fight, would you say he had 70 Muay Thai fights?
Yeah, so his record...
That's a lot of fights.
When I was looking, I was trying to find a clear picture of it, of what it was. And the closest accurate thing I could find was I think it was 36 and 24 or something like that. Yeah. And that was next under his name, under a banner. But it was years before that. Yeah. So it was okay, there's probably... Because the way kickboxing records go... Sometimes they get lost in the minutia. It's you fucking fought maybe 3 times in a row that night.
Yeah.
And, who knows where the writing went, But in Muay Thai, it's they're not oh, he's fucking 20 and 40. He sucks. They're just be careful. Yeah, he's 20 and 40. Watch the fuck out. Yeah. That means he's got 60 fucking fights and he's going to give you hell.
Yeah.
That's what that means,
That's
So
a lot of fights.
That's what, people
it's a lot of experience, a lot of time. And I know Muay Thai, you're kicking and elbowing and stuff like that, but you still got to have good hands to be in a Muay Thai fight. So, dude, that's ballsy, man. Just being whatever, I'm going to take it. And he comes in overweight.
Yeah, it was a crazy fight. I'll actually send you the link.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have it on. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll play any clips you want to. I'll play them on the our social media as well.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's all promote it.
Yeah, but between everything up until that point, like before, I must have had, I don't know, like 50, because I had 12 amateur MMA. They're called like Lei Tai fights. I don't know if you heard of them. They're like, it's like MMA with like a headgear on, like like a fencing face cage.
Yeah.
Small gloves. You can elbow, you can knee.
Are your knees or elbows padded?
No. But you're allowed to take them down, but you just can't work on the ground. Takedowns, it stops at the takedown.
Yeah, it's almost like karate combat rules. Although I think they changed
similar,
that a little bit.
Yeah, I did like 10 or 12 of those, and then I did 16 amateur boxing matches, and then I did 5 amateur MMA fights, and then this would be my 10th pro MMA fight and 2 pro boxing matches. So yeah, it's all accumulated of about 40 something ish, 50 something.
Hell yeah! And when you're like talking or negotiating for the fight, how hard is it to find an opponent to, like in your weight class? Do you know ahead of time if it's someone like you kind of want to fight, or it's someone that like style wise you want to match up with? Or?
Well, yeah, you talk to the matchmaker, right? In this case, Rick, right? You say, hey, I'm looking for a guy who's got some good experience. Make him like, if we could find a guy who's like not like like for me, it's like the short, stocky wrestler is my pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's like, I do want to fight that, but when?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like I like to ease my way in with some striking fights, with some guys that aren't the fire hydrant build.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's really a build thing for me, more so than the
someone
freaking
just sitting on top of you.
Or just like the short, stocky, he's like fucking like 5'5", but he's this wide. You know what I mean? I hate that shit.
Yeah,
that's worse than fighting a guy who's 6 foot tall, in my opinion. But you discuss it and you say, hey, like this is how many fights I've had. This is my experience. If you can, let's find a guy. The first guy we ended up having, he agreed to it verbally, and then when it came time to seal the deal, he ended up going somewhere else.
Oh, okay,
and then it was kind of like we had to figure it out fast, kind of thing.
How many weeks ago was that?
For the first guy?
Yeah.
God, it must have been in like end of June.
Okay.
So, there was a lot of end of June, early July. Kind of knew that we were going to fight each other, but he ended up taking something somewhere else. Maybe they offered him more money, or whatever. However it works. Because it's like your first couple fights in MMA, especially if you're trying to get back into it, you're not going to, depending on who you have in your corner, who you got helping you out, you're not going to fight a fucking absolute savage straight away. You want to fight a guy that's, he's a tough dude. Like, he's going to give you a hell of a fight. He could beat you, but you're not going to look past him, right?
Yeah.
And then slowly but surely. And I use the examples of boxing, because in boxing, you see a kid, he's 10-0, 10 knockouts. Holy shit, he's a monster. He actually might be fucking good. But if you look at his record, all the guys, they pulled out of the Hess gas station up the street.
Yeah.
Trying
to like pad his record a little bit.
0-19, fucking, whatever. Guys who get jabbed and they just go crumble. They just get, some guys who come in, like my buddy had his pro debut in boxing. The fucking guy showed up. I guess he lost his luggage. He had no shoes, no fucking shorts, no fucking mouthpiece, no this, no that. So my buddy's uncle, who's a manager, he fucking runs around, he fucking melts a mouthpiece, gets shoes for him, gets fucking shorts for him. And then, all that's going on, and the guy's smoking a butt. You know what I mean? It's just like, that's boxing. MMA, there's not a lot of that going on. In MMA, you got guys that just love to fight, and no matter what their record is, shit happens. It's the ultimate shit happens sport. You can get a guy that's fucking 1-20. You can get a guy that's fucking, 6-8, whatever. Guess fucking what?
So many ways.
Doesn't matter, because if you go in there and you look past the guy, that's going to be the biggest mistake you made. And see, in MMA, you don't have a lot of that, though. You don't have a lot of the gas station guys.
Yeah.
You can't just keep reeling those in.
And with Combat FC, too, they're on Fight Pass, so I'm sure that also attracts higher caliber fighters that want to fight on those cards, right?
Yeah.
Like, because they're trying to get in UFC or they're trying to get to another promotion, and that's a good spot. It makes it so much better probably for a promoter or manager to be able to say, oh, pull up his fight on blah, blah, blah on Fight Pass. Like, it just, I feel like, adds credibility, too.
Yeah.
So you're going to get good fighters on those cards.
Yeah. Yeah, they run a pretty good show. I think I've been to 5 or 6 of them. And I watched one of them, I think. Yeah, they put on a great show. And yeah, you can't just fight anybody some of the time. You know, if you got 2 or 3 pro fights, you know, you might be able to get away with 1 or 2 of those, but eventually they're going to be like, listen, like, we got a guy here, he's 5-5, but he's going to he's going to bring it, he's going to put his balls on the line, you know what I mean? That's what's going to happen. So.
Do you know, what's the dude you're fighting's record?
2-11.
2-11? Okay, so that's 13 fights experience.
Right.
I don't know, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. I get, you know, Jamie obviously, but I went to his fight at Combat FC. I think it was like Combat FC 6 or something like that. Dude, I get so nervous when somebody, even if I'm like watching TV.
I was training with him.
Guys.
I was training with him a ton for that.
Oh, well, yeah.
In his basement.
Yeah.
In his gym.
He's got
basement.
the mats because he does like the tutorials and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, James is a man. But I was like, before he came out, and his fight actually got delayed too. He was supposed to fight earlier on the card, and then just, you know, for whatever reason, like production, whatever, his fight got pushed back. So 10 minutes before he was warmed up, he was ready to go out, and the fight got pushed back. So I was starting to get so sweaty, like right before it came out, and super nervous, and then it got pushed back, and then, you know, when his fight came on later, I was with a bunch of buddies, you know, mutual friends that we played football together with, and I was like squeezing onto them, like I don't know what it is. There's nothing like the excitement of a fight.
Oh, yeah.
It is the most exciting thing ever. Do you, when you're, and I saw that you're, you know, promoting like tickets and stuff too. Do you hit a point before the fight where you're just like, this isn't going to be it? Because that's the stress. Like,
yeah,
you know, when you're selling, like, I know from like comedy tickets, it's stress. It's like the most stressful thing. It's not the performance. It's the trying to like get all that other side crap done beforehand.
Yeah, you know, and it's only been hasn't been bugging me much really.
Yeah,
but it started to bug me for a couple days because I was getting really irritated with people being like, you know, not as punctual about getting the things or agreeing. And I get, like, life happens. Like, I don't expect you to fucking drop everything you're doing and say, I'm coming to see you, right? But it's like, I like to try to keep the word, right? If I say I'm going to go to something,
you're going.
God, like, I'm going to try. I'm going to fucking try, you know, especially if it's like 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away, and, you know, and you make a commitment. And not saying you rely on those people for things, but it's like, you know, would be nice. Like, I ended up getting all these tickets, so if you can go, right? And right now it's, you know, it's moving, but it's a little slow because it's Labor Day weekend, right? People have long vacations. I expect next week to be kind of ramping up, but I also told people
that's when you're also trying to probably focus in, right?
Right, but I also told people the following week. I said, you know, Tuesday of the fight week, last day.
Yeah, that's
like,
smart.
If you're gonna say, oh, you know, this, that, and the other, I don't care how many tickets I have left over or whatever. I'll do whatever. Maybe I'll call them and say, hey, can I break him off to another fighter? Maybe he needs some. Right? I'll fucking drive to him and drop some of it at his house before I chase you around to give you one or two tickets when, you know, I told you weeks in advance that this was going down, you know? And there's a side of that people don't see, that don't understand. Like, they think it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Like, oh, well, you could just mail them to me. And it's like, I could do that. Yeah, I'm actually doing that for one guy. But we're 2 weeks away. That's ample time, right?
Yeah.
And I guess, like, I could will call some with people, too, you know? There's always... I just wish that the future of it turns into full digital.
Yeah.
Order promo code. Order promo code. Order promo code.
That makes sense, too, yeah.
Because
you can probably just do,
paper
like,
tickets,
Murrin or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Paper tickets are a fucking waste of money anyway.
Yeah.
You're printing them out. You got to get them printed out. It would be a lot easier to just go, you know, click the link.
Yeah.
Right? Because everyone's so used to that after fucking COVID, right? Everyone's buying so much shit on Amazon. Click, 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 click. You know, it would be a lot easier for everybody involved. The promoter, too.
Oh, yeah.
To do that because, you know.
I wonder if it has something to do with Shriners. Like, I know sometimes venues can be weird, too, about, like, how they deal with, like, tickets and stuff like that. Shriners is a really cool auditorium, though. I think it's, you know, obviously, like, fights at the Guard and stuff are really cool, too, but it really is a perfect size for that type of event.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's big enough where it spreads out, and there really isn't a bad view of the ring, but it also kind of still has that, like, kind of tight, almost like a comedy club. Like, if you're in a comedy club, you want it to feel like close together. So I like fights there a lot. Trying to school. I remember going to the rodeo there when I was a kid.
They had a rodeo.
They had a rodeo there.
Holy shit!
I don't know why I was at a rodeo. And then my buddy. It's funny we were talking about computer games earlier, but my dad's buddy, when I was, you know, probably like 10 or 11, was really into computers and stuff like that. So he used to take us to the computer shows at the Shriners Auditorium. Massive computer shows, you know. It was back in the day, but I remember buying this game. It was called Rise of the Triad. Do you remember that game?
No.
It was sort of like a Doom Wolfenstein.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like first player, but it came out, I think, right after Doom 1. So it almost had... It was like the precursor to like the Doom 2 kind of graphics.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Rise of the Triad was a really great game. I don't know if it was like almost like a bootleg kind of game. 'Cause you know how like they can just like change the coding a little bit and make it like, you know, you're fighting dudes in China instead of demons. But
yeah, they do that a lot now. They like copy paste a game's kind of framework and they just tweak it to their own design.
The same exact gameplay, just a little bit different. Do you play a lot of video games leading up to a fight?
If I have time, you know, I will. I'll play like I was playing before I came here. I'll probably play when I go home, and I don't know if I'll have time to play tomorrow. But
when you're in fight camp, maybe like, you know, like right now, like 2-3 weeks before a fight, is there any specific hobby, like what video games, are there any things that you're like, I gotta do it just to like sort of take my mind off of everything?
Well, you know, I guess video games is a good, you know, distraction from stuff, but I don't know, I guess I'm just working too, because I'm working part-time at the same time as I'm getting ready for this, so, you know, probably working like around like 20 hours a week. So, you know, trying to...
I was calling you I saw
that too. Oh, there we go, right?
Was that last week?
I forgot I even fucking do that.
Yeah, right.
I did it twice this week.
Oh, nice.
So I did...
Where'd you go this week?
Did the Direwolf and then Amesbury Fortune Bar.
Oh, nice. I have a show at Max tonight in Nashua.
Oh, nice.
I think it's at like a music studio or something like that. So I think it's a small crowd, but Max had his album recorded there like a year and a half or 2 years ago. Then I was there for that. But it was pretty cool.
He's pretty good, man. He's always getting shit done, right? He's always getting shows. He's always reaching out to people. You know, always getting tips in the jar too. You know, he's He's
It's
very.
hard.
There is
It's hard.
he is tenacious. He does not stop.
Tenacious. I'm in Max's wedding. He's getting married. I think that his album that he's actually recording is called Max is Getting Married. But his wedding is October either 18th or 19th, I forget. It's on a Saturday, whatever, I'll tell me. But, yeah, Max is a good dude. He's a good guy.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely been, reaching out to me, being like, hey, you want to come over here, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, absolutely, this is great.
Yeah.
I like trying different places, seeing what's out there.
How's the Coastal? I'm going to be at Coastal Mass with him September 6th, so in 2 weeks. But you did one of the shows there, right?
Yeah.
At the brewery. How was it? Is
It was fun.
Spot?
Yeah, it was small.
What is the room
fun.
like? Is it just out in the open, or is it like a separate room?
It's like this, but a little bit bigger.
Okay.
It's kind of like there's a bar in the back. It's a little wider and just longer.
Yeah.
Like a medium rectangle.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but look, we moved from the Lawrence Brewery to there, but I still haven't been there. One of the times I was working I think the show that you were on, I was working in Pennsylvania that week, so I couldn't make it. And there was one before that too, and I don't remember where I was, but I couldn't make it. So I'm wanting to get to that show, to that location. Yeah, Direwolf's great too. I haven't been in almost like 2 months. I feel like at this point.
Yeah.
That's usually one of my go-tos. Like I always try to get there, but Wednesdays have been crazy for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, you drive down North Street, which is the main street in Salem, to get in, right? And everyone's backed the fuck up because you can't go around them when they're taking a left anymore because everyone who drives SUVs decided to vote for bike lanes.
Bike lanes.
That nobody uses.
In Salem.
This is part of
everybody walks Salem. Nobody takes a bike.
This was actually part of the bit I had last week in Salem. I friggin' just went off. I said, yeah, this town sucks. I was like, you guys, this is a town you visit, not live in.
Yeah.
I was like, you visit. I was like, because the people that live here don't even fucking drive. Right? And the people that are coming in, they're driving all the time. Where's the bicyclists? I haven't seen one person on a bike all summer.
It's like the fad thing to do.
And then they put all these plastic posts in the way. I started cutting right through them to take turns now. So I'm like, what's this for? To look good? They're trying to Montreal, right, has their own bike lanes. But people ride bikes there. Nobody rides bikes in Salem.
I know.
Show me. There's more people riding bikes in Boston, and that shit's deadly compared to
Salem's
fucking.
Also, there's so many side streets. It's a lot easier to get away with riding a bike without the use of a bike lane. You can cut through everywhere. Like somewhere like Montreal, everything's a grid.
Right.
So you sort of need a bike lane there for that reason.
But there's more of a bike culture too. These people are like, oh, I live in a one-bedroom studio and I work at the fucking cafe. I can walk or ride my bike, right? I'm not going to be able to bring, I have nowhere to park. It's like it's forced upon you to ride a bike, even and you're in that zone, and that makes perfect sense for people. But Salem, where are you riding to?
What is Salem?
What are you riding a bike?
Miles?
Yeah. What are you riding a bike to Peabody?
Yeah.
You got the whole North Street guarded down with bike lanes. Where are you going? Where are you riding your bike?
That's
right.
like,
You're gonna go. Oh yeah. Which, by the way, once you get out of the Salem bike lane area, Peabody's like, nope.
Yeah.
It's like we don't give a fuck. And then you get towards the mall, and that's like the fucking highway junction, and that's a shit show.
Yeah.
I don't get it. When I move out of Salem, the last thing I'm gonna fucking do is go to a town meeting there. I'm going to find one. And I'm going to fucking let it rip.
You ever see that? It's a meme now that the dude, when he walks into the city hall meeting, he's like, good evening, cowards. Good evening, cowards.
I'm going to be like, I've lived in this town for 4 years, and the people are really nice. I'll butter them up a little bit. I was like, but I got to tell you, these bike lanes on North Street, they got to fucking go. I was like, you all voted for them. Who here on the council rides a bike? Raise your hand. And you're going to see one guy who's like, I ride my bike every day. And I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, well, you're the only one.
Yeah.
great. So we should make bike lanes for you then. That's what we did. We made all these for you.
Yep.
Because all these rich people, they want it to sound good. Like, we have bike lanes in our city. See how progressive we are? See how good we are? It's like, yeah, you guys, this must be the most car pollution per capita
sitting
right
there
next to
blowing
Boston.
fumes out.
Yeah, like Salem's like one big fucking dust cloud. You know? I don't get it. The people that live there don't get it either. It's like, you don't even have your license.
Yeah.
That's why you live there. You know, you work from home. You work at a retail shop across the street and you live with 5 strangers, which is fine. But don't pester the bike lanes. You know?
Bastards.
I know it. God.
Ever since Salem Willows had kind of shrunk down a little bit, just hasn't been the same.
Yeah, I've only been there a few times, but
that was always the field trip for me every year in elementary school, because it's like close enough to Malden where it's still a little bit of a trip, and it was like a little bit more kind of spread out. But
you know, I didn't realize there's a Walmart in Salem. There's a Walmart everywhere.
There's a Walmart
everywhere. I was like, I had to go get an eye exam. So I heard Walmart as an eye doctor. So I was like, whatever, just be quick in and out. Punch it in. I'm like, there's a Walmart in Danvers, there's a Walmart in Salem, and there's a Walmart in Peabody. I'm like, hold on a fucking second.
Yeah.
I was like, where are they? Like, I never see them. And then they're off the beaten path. You know, you take a left turn, and then there it is, just fucking
huge.
In all its glory. I'm like, holy shit.
They get a lot of business, too. You can just order on their app. Like, whether you can get, some of them have grocery stores, some don't, but you can get all your groceries, whatever you need for other stuff, clothes even. And they'll put them in that, like, pickup bin, and you just go right there, pick it up. I feel that's the majority of traffic I see now at, like, Walmart is that, the pickup bins.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to the eye doctor in there, and it was, you know, they're like, oh, you need glasses? I'm like, no. Like, what are you doing here then? I'm like, I need a dilated eye exam. And they're like, what for? I'm like, licensure. And they're like, what license? And I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, just give me the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm paying you out of pocket.
Yeah.
Take it, the fucking money.
When you're paying for medicals to fight in Massachusetts, how long are they usually good for? Because I know they can be kind of expensive, like getting your stuff, like your medical squared away. Is it every year?
Physicals every year, eye exams every year, blood works every 6 months, CT scans every 5 years. EKG is 1 year after the first time, and then it's like, I think it's every 5 after that.
Okay.
So, I mean, Massachusetts, and I think all the big states that regulate the shit, they want to have every piece of medical information squared away before anybody does anything. Because that's when shit, you know, you go to a backwood, you know, Montana fight or Mississippi fight or something like that. Again, yeah, today I fought a guy with AIDS. You know what I mean? Like, you just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
I guess it's like, I'm willing to like pay what I gotta get to make sure the dude I'm fighting is not gross.
Yeah. I remember I turned my paperwork in. It was years ago. It was like, and I know obviously New Hampshire's probably come a long way. They're probably way more streamlined now. But I remember I fought New Hampshire once, and I was like, "Here's my physical," and the guy was like, just put like a check mark on it. He was like, "You're good to go." This is like 2010 or something. So, and, you know, still the Wild West. When I was in 2007, when I fought my first amateur fight, I weighed in my goddamn jeans.
Oh yeah,
because there wasn't even a sanctioned body.
Yeah,
like built for this yet. You know, there was like an athletic commission, like shadow, like a supervisor, like watching what was going on during these shows.
Because it wasn't enforcing.
Right. It wasn't like, you maybe, I think maybe you got checked at the doctor there, right? But there wasn't like this battery of paperwork that you need now. Yeah. Which obviously is good. It's just dealing with the bureaucracy of getting the paperwork. Like,
yeah, because it takes time. It takes time to get results.
I had to do a physical and blood work, and the nurse or the doctor told me, like, I'll have the blood work for you this day, or my note saying that you're okay. Yeah. And I'll put it on the website on the patient gateway so you can download it and say whatever. I'm like, okay. They didn't do it. So the blood work is there, so I screenshotted that. And then I had to go into the doctor's office. And they're like, oh, no, you got to print it out. You got to get an appointment. I was like, hold on a second. I was like, this is my shit.
Yeah.
My, records.
My record.
And, I was just here yesterday.
Yeah.
Why can't you just press Control P and give me it so I can scan it? And then she was like, oh, it's the long weekend. All these bureaucrats. Oh, it's the long weekend. We're taking it off. We're taking it off. It's like, look, you went to school for this misery.
Yeah.
You went to school to sit at this desk, and now you can't press Control P because whoever else pissed you off. So then she came back and was like, oh, she might not get it to you today. Maybe be Monday. I was like, look, I need this now.
Yeah.
You're fucking pissing me off. So I just went outside. But luckily, the doctor did send it. She was in between patients, and all she had to do was send it, and she did. But, imagine if she didn't. I'm sure a lot of people go through that. That's why a lot of these physicals, they don't go through insurance. They go through out-of-pocket. Every time I've done a lot of things out-of-pocket, it's always been faster, done.
Yeah.
Right? Not insurance is
because they got the money for it. It's
yeah.
It's there.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. I'll give you a perfect example, right? About how just stupid and shitty the healthcare system is here. My wife, she had a facial nerve tumor, right? Out of nowhere. Just popped up. Half her face was paralyzed.
Oh, shit.
We go to the doctor. They're like, oh, we see it, yeah, MRI. It took a while to get that first.
Yeah.
And then the MRI is like, oh, yeah, it's about the size of a pinky finger tumor. They're like, yeah. We'll take a look at it, whatever, 2 months from now. I said, so what?
2 months.
This thing's just going to fucking grow?
Yeah.
Hello? What the fuck? So after a lot of back and forth, they ended up, expediting her because you had to fucking press them.
Yeah.
We don't know what this is. Is it cancer? Is it fucking what's going on? It's and she had insurance. Pretty damn good insurance on top of that. So it's how the fuck are you going to just kick the can down the road over a goddamn tumor? I don't care how small it is. That's just
the size of a pinky for a tumor is pretty big, too.
Yeah, pinky fingernail, right? Yeah. Oh. But still, it's on a nerve in your face, and it just totally... and it really it fucked her up, and it was a difficult time. They ended up taking it out. It wasn't cancerous, but still.
Yeah.
It's
that affects if there's paralysis in your face,
right.
That's a big fucking deal.
Right.
Yeah,
and again, I'm sure there's plenty of other people who have way worse of outcomes.
Millions of
that have life-threatening illness, whatever. And they're just getting kicked down the road only until you're on the bed dying. Then they're like, all right, let's help them. Yeah. It's nothing's
but
about...
it's more expensive.
Yeah. There's no such thing as preventative care.
Yeah.
It's get ahead of the problem. They don't want to do that. They want to go, all right, let's back it up until it's at the fucking final straw. That's what these people do. And it's just I don't even think they mean to do it. I just think it's a product of how shitty...
system, it's a lot of shit. It fucking sucks.
Yeah, how shitty...
I hate seeing it.
The healthcare system is. And, even though, people are like, oh, you wouldn't want to go get healthcare anywhere else. And I was like, that's probably true. But, what does this say about the bigger picture?
Yeah.
That, we all can't get this right. People go to school for fucking decades.
Yeah.
Just so they can fucking,
I mean, people say that because we have the tools and the knowledge to fix a lot of problems. But if we can't get that to the hands of the people, it's well, what's the fucking point of having it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can go on a rant all fucking
Stay
day.
healthy. Stay healthy. Don't eat too much Dunkin' Donuts.
Dude, I feel so lucky that I am relatively healthy.
Yeah.
I have sports injuries that affect me from time to time, old man stuff. You know what I mean? But I don't have to worry about, is my medication going to get jacked through the roof this month? You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about those things. I don't need to be on anything. But for people that are on, even things like inhalers, my wife takes an inhaler and also has another whatever thing that looks like an inhaler that she has to get. and that went up to it was originally $30, which is like expensive. This is going back maybe like 4 years ago. It costs her, I think, $180 a month now on the same exact insurance for the same exact inhaler.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, how did you go in the span of 4 years from $30? I think it was like actually $189 or something like that. Like, what?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yep. No, yeah, my health insurance. So, after you're 26, you get off your parents or whatever. And then I went and got my own health insurance. It was like $200 a month. It was based on what you make.
Yeah.
Like, all right. So $200 a month, no problem. Next year, I said, we're bumping up to $225. I said, whatever.
What's $25?
The following year, it goes out to fucking almost $500. I said, I didn't make that much money to make that go that high. That's just them doing their fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
So then I had to cancel that one and shop for a new one. And then I got a new one. It wasn't, is it as good? Probably not, but it's like, whatever. What are you going to do? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's been this too. When I've been in similar situations where I've had to like change health insurance or like find out, and it's luckily enough for me. Like I believe I could have still used the same doctor, but I don't even think I have a prime. Like I should go to the doctor probably. I probably have some things wrong with me, and I just don't know them. But when you have to switch over something because it got too expensive, it's like you don't know if you're going to be able to see the same doctor. They might be out of that insurance plan. You don't know if all your like blood work stuff's going to transfer. Like things get lost in the minutia. It's just such a pain in the ass. It's like why? Why do we have it like set up like that? It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And as for you, it's got to suck too because so much of what you do depends on having your medical stuff ready to go where you need it. Like,
yeah, that's why a lot of promoters too, like they know, like they'll know a guy.
Yeah.
Oh, we know this place that does CT scans out of pocket, or we know a doctor that will give you the physical, or give you a physical rather, not just give it to you, but like do the work.
We'll actually see you.
Right, do the blood pressure, do the heart, do the your knees, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And the blood work too. You can just go to Quest Diagnostics by yourself and get half that done anyway. You're still paying for it.
Where's that?
Quest Diagnostics, there's a few of them. There's one in Cambridge. There's one in Danvers. It's just like a, blood work place.
Yeah, I gotta do that. I haven't. I don't even know the last time I've gotten.
Yeah,
I should probably do that.
I did a freaking. I wanted to see like hormonal test or whatever.
Yeah.
So you go to the doctor and you go to the doctor first and they say, all right, go to Quest Diagnostics, and then you do that test. And then they send it back to them, and then they read the results, and then they send it back to you.
Dude, that's what I gotta do. I need to get some more. I want to get some TRT flowing through these veins. But the only thing, my wife and I do want to have another kid, and I was looking into it, and I saw that if you take TRT, it lowers your sperm count.
Yeah. So when I was just curious, I wanted to see what was going on. So, I went at 8 in the morning. I had like 6 hours of sleep. I didn't eat yet. I think you're supposed to be fasted, actually, for the testosterone test. And then I went in there, whatever. A week later, they called me back, and they said, hey, you want some? I was like, no. And they're like, oh, your testosterone's 1,089. He's like, 1,100's the marker that we say, oh, it's beyond that's abnormally high. So I'm at 1089 and 1100 for a 35-year-old. They were fucking blown away. They said, don't ever touch shit.
Yeah.
That's what he said to me. He's like, don't ever touch shit. But everybody's different.
Yeah. Right? And it's probably like...
But yours might be higher than you think, too, right? It's just because you don't... you've probably never dabbled in that shit before. No. Because that's the thing. A lot of these guys...
I see it on like... YouTube.
Well, it's quick results.
Yeah, that's what I need.
That's the thing.
Quick results.
People want quickness. But the problem is, you take TRT, you're on that shit for life.
I know. That's the other thing.
That's
what I'm thinking. Me, I'm 40 now.
sucks.
I'm thinking once I get to like 55, 60, or whenever I really start breaking down, I want that option. I don't like the idea of me not being able to take something that's going to keep me
Right.
younger for the longest time possible. I think if I started taking it now, it would be a bit of a hindrance. But I do want to look more into like the healing aspects of stuff like that. Like what's it called blood? Not, what's like the blood cell treatment? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, PRP.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What is that? Platin rich.
Yeah, it's supposed to like use your own like stem cells, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, like stem cell therapy, stuff like that. I have.
Right, stem cell therapy is crazy, right? Because all the guys in the UFC that they're promoting it big time, right? They go to Tijuana, and they get
so whatever shit they're getting, who knows over there?
Well, yeah, I mean they're just literally pulling it from a fetus in a fucking freezer. You know what I mean? And swirling it up. Probably they probably have fucking fridgefuls of like aborted fetuses.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You don't put your lunch in the wrong fridge at work.
Yeah, no shit.
You could be going somewhere you don't want to be going.
Yeah, I think that stuff's good. I heard a great story from a guy. He tore his fucking bicep completely, like to the bone.
Yeah.
And he got surgery here, and they're just like, yeah, it's the best we can do. And then he went to Colombia. He spent I think over a month there, injection after injection after injection. He's got money though, right? So that's the other thing. And his bicep's good.
Is it really?
It's good. Yeah, he said it really helped him.
I actually have a torn bicep tendon right now, currently.
Yeah.
And it's been bothering me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, if you went to South America, it's probably expensive to get there, but it's cheaper for the stem cells than if you were here.
Yeah.
Because you buy them here, they're probably more synthetic, and they're probably, because of all the laws that they have to jump through, But yeah, I mean, I've been, you've been around sports enough, you've been around athletes enough, you've been around that shit. Like, not just stem cells, fucking TRT, steroids, whatever. And you hear stories like guys who do their tests and their testosterone levels like fucking 1,500, 1,600. But their balls aren't producing sperm.
Yeah.
Their balls are shriveled up into their fucking gut. You know what I mean? And it's just like, to me, that's not worth it.
I need those things.
It's like I want that to work. Yeah. And I don't want to take something to make it work again.
Yeah.
And everyone... Call me fucking crazy, but that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I'm in a lucky position to be a 35-year-old who's still fucking revving with a V12 engine.
Fucking piss and vinegar.
Yeah. Fucking fuck it.
Fuck yeah.
I can't wait to just start lifting weights, though. I got to tell you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You like lifting?
Yeah. Weight class restriction. I mean, it sucks. You got to be. You don't want to. I'd like to be like 170, 175 walking around like jacked.
Yeah.
But, you don't want to get too big for the weight class you're trying to get to. I'm trying to go to 35 eventually, so I don't want to.
Okay, so you want to stay pretty fit then.
Yeah, like a 65 is fine, like max right there.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna get in shape training. You know what I mean? In general, you're going to get leaner. So, there are some guys that cut crazy amounts of weight, though. It's just unbelievable. Like, some guys cut 20 pounds in a week, 30 pounds in a week.
Like, what's the UFC guy? Pereira, when he was fighting at 185, like, the dude looks huge. I've never seen him in person. He looks like a monster.
Yeah,
at 205.
He's huge.
He's walking in the cage. I think his last fight, they said it was like 229 he walked in at when he fought Yuri Prohaska.
Right, so do the math.
Yeah.
185.
If you're 185 and you're walking in at, that's a lot of weight to cut, man. And he not that he doesn't look, he's muscular, but I feel like those big muscular guys, you can probably cut a little bit more weight because, your muscles are a little more bloated.
Right.
Because Yuri looks like, I'm not Yuri, Alex Pereira looks like pretty trim. Like it doesn't look like it's going to be easy for someone like him to cut weight.
Yeah,
it sucks. I just did. Right now, I think I'm at like 217 is my weight. I just did one of the. I love fatty like diet trends too. So I did the 3-day water fast, and I really liked it. I dropped some pounds, but it was more so I was like I just want to see what it feels like. But I would like to get down to around like 205. I feel like 205 for me is, I feel like I'm in really good shape. So if I'm like training, jiu-jitsu or something. To me, that feels like a good, like solid weight.
Yeah.
But I just haven't been able to do weight training in a long time. When I played football at Merrimack, I broke both of my shoulders, and it still bothers me. I don't know what it is. I can't use a bench. I'll do some just general body weight stuff, but I can't.
Can you dumbbell bench press?
I could probably do like lights. For a while, what I was doing,
or cable, or like a seated cable.
I like the is it TRX band?
TRX,
yeah. I like doing. I have a set of those in my basement, so I do a lot of like TRX push-ups, pull-ups, and like flies and stuff like that with it.
Yeah.
So I haven't really messed around much with a bench in probably like 20 years, or somewhere along those lines. With the bench, what I used to love to do was, I think we call them like crazy sevens or something like that. You 7 5-pound weights on each side. So you do a set of 7, pull them off, 7, pull them off, and then you build it back up.
Yeah.
Like I thought that used to get me really shredded.
Yeah.
For chest, I used to, I did a weightlifting competition my senior year in high school, and I benched 405.
Holy shit!
Everyone's got the one exercise that they can do. For me, it was bench, always.
Wow. Yeah,
but I could probably not do. I could maybe do like 185 or something like that right now.
Well, yeah, I have a client whose shoulder is so fucking banged up, like, he can't even. We have to use a belt squat.
Oh, really?
Because he can't even put his arms on the bar.
Yeah.
With correct form, because he's got such a deficiency in one side from surgery and all the rest of it. And doing PT exercises, doing them on your own or doing them with at the physical therapy place is one thing, because he's not paying me to fucking put him through physical therapy exercises with resistance bands the whole time, right? So it's like I put him in a position where it's like, okay, we're using the belt squat, takes your shoulders completely out of the equation.
Yeah, just focusing.
Yeah,
on
now it's from your hips down, and then so he can't bench press on like laying down plane where he's going to be breaking that angle. So I get him in an upright 90-degree position on a machine where it's got like your typical machine weight, and he starts here, so his elbows are here, and he's pushing it like this.
Yeah.
And he gets the work out of that. Like he can feel the work out of that, and then we'll do like bent over rows and stuff. But yeah, there's so many things that you could probably do. Even at a freaking Planet Fitness. Yeah, they got machine. That's probably you're in New Hampshire, right?
I'm in North Andover.
Oh, you're in North Andover. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a great gym in North Andover. North Andover, BJJ, Kyle Bochniak.
Oh yeah, I saw it. You know what? It's so close to my house too, but it's one of those. I had already been training in New Hampshire at Henzo. I'm like, I don't want to. It sucks. It's like
there's a loyalty thing, right? Too.
Yeah, it is, and like those coaches have like really helped
invested,
me. And, like,
right? Yeah.
I've done a couple of what do you like
tournaments?
Tournaments, or whatever. It's like I kind of don't want to jump shit,
right?
Even though it's so like. It's right there.
Yeah.
That's my house. But yeah, that it looks. I know a guy, another comedian actually works out there. He does the radio on in New Hampshire somewhere too. I forget his name slipped my mind, but he was telling me about it at a show. He's like, it's a really great gym.
Oh yeah, no, I used to train with the guy who runs it.
Kyle Bochniak, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a badass.
Oh yeah. The fight with the bee is sick. Such a good fight, man.
Oh yeah,
I love that fight.
I was there.
Oh, you were there?
I was fucking losing it. I was like front row, floor seat, fucking screaming. There's a video of me through the cage, stand up. I had a Flash T-shirt on. I was going like this. Come on. Yeah. It's the funniest shit ever.
Dude, the bee was fucking good, man. He was so good.
Yeah.
And also, the other Boston guy, Calvin Cater, when he fought him, was like the same thing. 3-round fight, but in the 3rd round, Cater was taking over. That actually probably should have been a 5-round fight because it was a main event.
Yeah, he probably. I think Kyle showed the blueprint.
Yeah.
To kind of compete with what he had to offer, right? It's like He's doing a lot of kung fu stuff, a lot of explosive stuff. But remember, it goes back to what we were just saying earlier. You're only guaranteed them how many spin kicks a fight.
Yeah.
You're only guaranteed how many slams a fight. You're only guaranteed, you know what I mean? So it's like he starts off the fight with a spinning back kick, whoom, as hard and as fast as he can.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's at the highest level of the sport, but I haven't seen him like knock somebody out with that.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. It can give people make them scared to jump in on you. But like as the fight progresses, like spinning back kicks at high intensity, high speed, at like not a relative pace, like guys who are like
Edson Barboza's done it.
Right, masters of the craft,
Yeah.
who kind of like pace themselves like professional strikers. They're able to kind of like, and then set up the spin, right? Even if it's later. Whereas like Zabit was like, I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at you,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to take you down and then pound you out a little bit or maybe submit you. I think he's got more submission wins than knockout.
Yeah,
maybe
that crazy knee bar submission.
Yeah.
I think in the fight, I don't know if it was the one before or the one right after Kyle's fight,
Yeah.
but I remember what do they call, like the banana split or something like
Right.
that? It was a crazy
Right.
submission.
Yeah, if you can weather the storm, you'll have your best chance of success.
Yeah.
Because I was watching, I actually saw him and Jeremy Stevens fight live in Vegas.
Yeah.
And I watched that fight, and he was actually a lot more patient in that fight.
Against
Jeremy Stevens. Yeah.
Little heathen, right?
Yeah, I think he realized too, like maybe if don't get tired on this guy, because he's a big puncher. I don't want to get caught up in a brawl with him. Just kind of, he picked him apart. He played it real clean. Every time he switched stance, he threw a rear kick. Every single time he switched stance, just to kind of keep him at bay. Kept kicking him to the body, shaving his head a little bit.
Yeah.
Stay
patient, right? Jeremy Stevens too. He some big knock. He knocked out RDA, I think, in one of his early UFC fights. Just a lot of power, dangerous dude, man.
Oh yeah, big time, big puncher. And when you see, I saw him in person, and it was before the fight, obviously. So he probably had time to blow up. It was the week. It was fight week. He was at Peters, and he was doing his mitt routine. I was like, geez, he doesn't look so imposing.
Yeah.
Right? But again, that's like 3 days before weigh-in. He's probably sucked dry a little
Dehydrated.
bit. Right. And then all of a sudden, he probably, who knows, he might blow up to 170
Yeah.
the next freaking day,
Yeah. Dude, I gotta start wrapping this up. I just looking at the time. I gotta get to Nashua for Max's show. But, dude, thanks so much for coming in, man.
Yeah, man. You got it.
Yes.
So, September 13th,
Yeah.
Shriners Auditorium, Combat FC 8.
Fuck yeah.
I think it's 8, right?
Combat FC 8. That's right.
Combat FC 8. It's on.
Hell
The show's
yeah.
going to be wild.
You heard it here. James Martin going to put on a show for the crowd. Can't wait. Super excited. I'll be there for sure.
Hell yeah.
And, dude, I'm going to be rooting for you. Again, I'm like, stay neutral, but not for this one, man.
Yeah.
We're fucking rolling with you, baby. We're going to
Let's
fucking...
go.
Hell yeah, brother. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. I got a show tonight.